AITH for going through my mom's stuff and finding something I wish I never saw. Hey Reddit, I need your advice on something that's been eating me up inside for the past few days. So, here's the story. I'm Emily, I'm 18, and I live with my mom, who is 43. We're not super close, but we're not totally distant either. We've always had a pretty normal mother-daughter relationship. Sure, we fight sometimes, but nothing out of the ordinary. However, recently, something happened that changed everything between us, and I'm still not sure if I was wrong or if she was. So here's what happened. A few weeks ago, my mom went out of town for a weekend to visit some family. She told me to look after the house and my little brother, Ben. He's 11. I was pretty excited to have the house to myself for a couple of days, so I thought I'd clean up a bit, just to surprise her when she came back. While I was cleaning, I decided to go through some of the boxes in the attic. There were all sorts of old things up there, stuff from when I was a little kid, old family photos, and even some random things from my mom's past. I was just looking for something cool or sentimental to look at when I found an old, dusty box that caught my attention. It was labeled private. Of course, my curiosity got the best of me and I opened it. Inside, there were a bunch of notebooks, old journals, and a few letters. I could tell they were from when my mom was younger, maybe in her 20s. I started flipping through the journals because they looked interesting. At first, it was all about typical stuff: her college days, her first job, how much she missed her parents. But then I found something that completely shocked me. One of the journals was full of entries about her relationship with my dad, how they met, fell in love, and eventually got married. But there was something weird about the way she wrote about it. She kept talking about how trapped she felt. She wrote about how she had been forced into the marriage because she got pregnant with me and how it wasn't her choice. At first I thought, okay, maybe she's just venting, right? But then I found something that made me question everything. She had written about how she regretted having me. She said things like, if I didn't have Emily, I'd be living a totally different life right now, and I wish I could go back and make different choices. Now I know everyone has their regrets, but reading this was a punch to the gut. I had no idea my mom felt that way about me. I started to feel really weird about the whole thing. I didn't know what to do. Should I tell her I found these journals? Should I confront her about what I read? I thought about it for a while, and then, out of pure frustration, I decided to go ahead and read the rest of the journals. I figured if she was being that honest about her feelings back then, maybe she'd written about how things changed or how she felt later on. But the more I read, the more it seemed like she was still harboring some of those feelings. Even in the most recent entries, she would mention how she had to sacrifice so much for me and how she wished she had more freedom in her life. I didn't know how to handle it. I couldn't just act like I didn't see these things, but I also didn't want to make things awkward with her. I was confused, hurt, and honestly a little angry. I kept thinking about how everything I thought I knew about my mom and my childhood was probably a lie. How could she have loved me if she felt this way? Finally, when my mom came back home, I just couldn't keep it to myself. I sat her down and said, "Mom, I found your journals in the attic. I read them, and I need to know why you wrote all that stuff. Why did you feel that way about me?" She looked at me like I had just slapped her in the face. Her face went completely pale and she looked like she was going to cry. She said, "Emily, you weren't supposed to read those. I wrote those when I was young and confused. I never meant for you to see any of it. It was a dark time for me." I felt bad for her, but I also couldn't shake the fact that she had never mentioned any of this to me. She told me that after I was born, she had a lot of pressure from her family and from society to be the perfect mother and wife. She said it was hard for her to adjust, and she had a lot of mixed emotions back then. But the way she expressed it in the journals made it seem like I was the root of all her problems. Now she's acting like everything is normal, but I can't get over what I read. I keep thinking about how my mom didn't want me, and it's messing with my head. She's never been super affectionate, and I've always kind of accepted that. But now I'm starting to feel like maybe I never had the love and support I thought I had all these years. So Reddit, I need to ask AITH for reading my mom's private journals and confronting her about what I found. I didn't mean to hurt her, but now I'm wondering if I made things worse. Should I have just kept my curiosity in check? I found my mom's old journals and discovered that she regretted having me and felt trapped in her marriage. I confronted her about it, and now things are weird between us. Did I do the wrong thing by reading her private thoughts and bringing it up?